Hi. So today we're talking about fire elementals. Now, if you've been watching the podcast, you've already a fair idea of what they are, but if you haven't, here's a quick recap. Your fire elemental, paired with your water elemental, deals a lot with your drive, motivation, and direction, right? Specifically for the fire elemental, it's all about your drive and ambition and all that fun stuff that gets you moving in the morning, okay? So, we're talking today about how to keep them happy because there's some very specific things that fire elementals require from you that you might not even have thought of particularly. What it needs is movement. If there is no movement happening, your fire elemental is miserable. And I cannot overstate this enough. It will curl in and get really cold and unhappy with you and grumbly, and nothing will happen, nothing will change. It will be sluggish and slow to get started. So we need movement to feel good. The other thing we need, especially if your fire elemental has not been moving for a little while, is you need to start with small movements. I like to think of this as building a fire from the beginning, right? Now, I'm about to show my complete lack of ability to build a fire out in the wild, but I understand the concept, so bear with me here. At the beginning, you need kindling to set on fire. These are your small movements that you can take to start a blaze going, right? Now, from what I remember of fire building, kindling is usually stuff that's really easy to set alight. There's a lot of air in about it so that it gets enough oxygen, and there's a lot of room for expansion. You build it, you set that on fire in the larger structure of what you're doing. So the actions have to matter, they have to be small, and they have to be relatively easy to complete if you're starting from scratch. And you need to do this not just for a little while, not just, a couple of times and then we should have fixed it. You need to be doing at least that every day. And then as your fire grows, as your fire elemental becomes happier, you can take slightly bigger steps as you're moving along. And that's where your momentum comes in. Now, to begin with, you need to build the momentum, you as the person. But after a little while, once it's been happily crackling away, the fire will grow on its own as long as you continue to feed it. So the momentum has to come from you. But after a while, you'll be rewarded with drive from your elemental that will feed back to you the desire to keep moving and keep the momentum going. And this is where it can really shine. And that's when you get a bit of a blaze going, and you can take bigger and bigger actions because to you they don't feel outlandishly big anymore. So you need to nurture it before you can expect it to give you that drive that you maybe were used to having when it was already crackling away. That's the first thing your fire elemental needs. The other thing it really, really needs from you, and I cannot overstate this, is it needs you to choose a small amount of goals to work on. You can't choose like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Doesn't matter if they're small goals or big goals. You can't have hundreds of them. They work best when you choose just one main goal and maybe a couple of supporting goals, and that's it. This should not be a new sort of tip to you, but the way I liken it is, picture a fire elemental, like not the cute little ones I draw you, but a more grown-up fire elemental that you might find in role-playing games. They like to throw fire out of their hands, right? When it's working with you, you can ask it to throw it at a target. If your goals are targets, then, and your fire elemental can only fire so many shots in a day, it's going to get a lot more done with less targets. For one, you're more likely to hit the things you actually want to hit because your priorities are in order. And for two, you'll do a lot more to them than, if you're trying to hit 20 different things and you've maybe got 5 shots in a day. The majority of the time, 15 of those things are not going to see any movement whatsoever, and the other 5 have to be really, really good shots to do anything. Whereas if you only have like 1 to 3 goals and you can hit 5 things in a day, they're all getting at least 1, even if you miss a couple. And if you have a good day and hit everything you aim at, one of them is getting some real progress. So those are the main things. And with the goals, you want to pick ones that you've a reasonable chance of winning at sometime in the near future, because you can always set more and higher goals from there. But it needs to be motivating for you. Big enough to motivate you, but not so big that it's like staring at this giant cliff and you can't climb it, right? Because fire elementals like to win. They like to win, they like to move, they like to expand and grow, and in some ways create, other ways destroy. That's a thing for a different video. But if you really want to keep yours happy, fewer goals, build momentum if you've come to a standstill, keep your momentum going, priorities. And that is how they will reward you with drive and ambition and forward motion. So, and that applies across the board because we all have all the elementals. And this is how you keep fire happy. We'll be covering the others in future videos. If you liked this, hit the like button, please and thank you. And if you want to see more, especially more in the elemental series itself, click subscribe and you'll be notified when they come in. Until next time, bye.